Hey everyone, this week we're going to talk about perspective a little bit more, and we're going to do an exercise in which we draw some perspective lines and learn about different things involving perspective.
We'll start with a one-point perspective drawing. One-point perspective, you can put a dot anywhere on your page. And what we're going to do is we're going to draw any shape we like. I'm going to go ahead and draw kind of a square. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take all the corners of that square and connect it to the vanishing point. Now remember, this is going to be a solid object, so we're not going to see the line that comes from this corner. We're only going to see the ones that come from the corners that are in between us and the vanishing point. And then we can go ahead and make parallel lines. So I want to make sure that this line that I'm drawing is parallel to this one. That means it's going at the same exact angle. If you don't make a parallel line, it won't look like a square, or it won't look like a box. So you have to be a little bit careful about this. And if you're not sure how it's parallel, hold your ruler or straight edge up to this one. I have a clear one, so I can do it right over it. Maybe you'll want to do it from this side, and then just move it straight across without twisting it. So now I've made a kind of a box that goes toward that vanishing point. Let's make another one. I'm going to put it sort of behind this box. This is going to be a taller one. But let's make it deeper. So now we have a kind of a tall, boxy shape, sort of like a brick, and one that's more like a cube. Now, let's draw a triangular shape and see how that goes. This triangle is going to recede toward that vanishing point. And if you're not sure whether to draw a line from here, put your ruler up against it and see what you're going over. So this would be coming behind this face of the object. So you have to kind of try to imagine it. Again, I want to go ahead and make a parallel line to this one. Putting my ruler over it is the easiest way to do that. But then I'm kind of stuck with one length. So now I've got all these shapes that kind of look like they're all going toward the same point in space. Where does it get tricky? Let's try doing an ellipse. Now, I could do a circle, which means I'd have something like, let's say, a circle here. Pretty good freehand circle. And if that were to go toward the vanishing point, I would look for the tangent of the circle, meaning it would just touch the edge like that. And I'm moving my ruler until I can just see where it touches. There. And I would basically want to imitate the same curve here. Remember, from your cylindrical object drawing, you shouldn't get corners or points here. It should be a smooth transition into that curve. So that looks more like a kind of a cylindrical object. Now, how do ellipses work? Well, let's say I want to draw an ellipse kind of on the floor going toward that vanishing point. I would draw my little box like this, and again, these lines go away from me, so they're going toward that vanishing point. This one is going to be parallel to that one. And now I want to inscribe an ellipse into here. How do I make that ellipse look like it's actually going toward the vanishing point? I need to make sure that it meets the sides in the correct place. So there's a trick to it. I'm going to make a diagonal here that connects the corners, and I'm going to make a diagonal here that connects these corners. Next, I'm going to take this center point and line it up with a vanishing point and make a line. Okay, this is where the ellipse is going to touch these two sides. Next, I'm going to make another line that is again parallel to this one and parallel to that one, going right through the intersection point of those diagonals. And that's going to touch here and here. And that is where my ellipse has to touch. So what I can do now is take it quadrant by quadrant, so divide it into quarters, right? And I want to make it so that the line starts off going perfectly even with the side and then starts to curve around. This is going to take a very careful touch, just like that. So this one has to start out like this and end like this. And you want to make sure that when you go through the diagonal, you're actually kind of going perpendicular to it, like that. Perpendicular. Oh, I missed it. Maybe it should be more like this. Not perfect, but you can kind of erase the part that you messed up on. So if I look really carefully, you can see that it's going perpendicular to the diagonals and it's coming in and just meeting the same line of the outside of the box. So you can do it that way. We can also inscribe ellipses into these surfaces that are moving away from us. So how do we do that? Again, we're going to find the middle of that box by connecting the corners of it. And then we're going to connect that midpoint to the vanishing point, and we're going to draw a parallel line from the midpoint to the edges of the box, just like that. And here comes the ellipse. Start off in the same direction as the side, and intersect the diagonal. Same direction as the side, and intersect the diagonal like that. What I'd like you to do is to create an imaginary one-point perspective drawing that has at least 5 objects on it, and at least one of them should have an elliptical surface like this. Here's the secret instruction. To make sure that you've been paying attention, I want you to take one of the objects and turn it into a little car. So you might draw little wheels on it, you might draw windows and a person driving, something like that. I'm going to go ahead and add one more object to this just to make it kind of interesting. Or maybe you know what I'll do, I'll go ahead and put vertical lines onto my ellipse here. And then I want to figure out how is this cylindrical object going to work in perspective, because now I've got a different side to it and it's not going to be the same curve. So I want to figure out that it stops here like that. And basically I have to turn this surface into a cube so that I can actually figure out where that other ellipse is and what shape it should be. So everything's going to intersect like this. I'm sort of imagining that other side. Okay, now I'm going to draw those diagonals. And I only need to draw this side for this one, because again, I've got the edges of my cylindrical object, and I just need to know that it goes from here like that to there like that. So now this kind of looks like it's going toward the vanishing point. And I can go ahead and erase the structural lines that I drew for that. There we go. A one-point perspective drawing. Got at least 5 objects. At least 1 or 2 of them are elliptical. Actually, you know what? I think I'm going to make it like this. You have to draw one like this and one like this. 2 cylindrical objects. One with the cylinder facing, sorry, one with the round side facing you and one with the round side in perspective. And 3 non-cylindrical objects. So maybe 2 boxes and maybe do something that's polygonal. I'll put it in the rubric. So make sure you read the rubric for this. That's the assignment. I think you'll have fun with it, but it's going to take a little bit of time, and you're going to need to kind of go slowly and think about what you're doing. All right, so I'm looking forward to seeing what you draw.